We're live?
We're live, dude. First in-person video, whatever you want to call this. Discord, Zoom, Teams podcast. And this is episode 27 of the Game Time Gents podcast. I am, as always, one of your co-hosts, Nardy, here with Zoltowski and Fish. Say hi, boys. Let me see your smiling, beautiful faces.
Can you zoom me out? Can you zoom me out?
I can't zoom you out. You got to get a bigger
zoom
desk.
me out a little bit too, please?
I can't zoom out any further.
How far back can you put your camera?
I think you need.
What do you mean how far back? It's at the door.
I think you need a bigger
I
desk.
think you need a bigger desk.
I need a recliner.
Yeah, that's what we need. A reclining podcast.
Catch me. I ate 38 spuds. I'm ready for a nap. So.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All
right. So in this week's episode, we're going to go over some post-Super Bowl drama. We have a tier list that everybody seems to be doing right now. It's the way too early power rankings tier list. And it is far too early for this, but we're going to revisit this again a couple times during the year, maybe once before the season actually starts. We do have another segment of our trivia time, Who's That Dude? Little game we like to play here. And then we have a draft at the end here for our biggest draft busts of all time. Before we get into these topics, boys, you guys got anything to say? Got anything to talk about? Any life events? Any life updates?
Nothing on.
Go ahead, Zoltowski. Take it over.
Oh,
take it over.
Go, you fish.
Watch your shoulder, man. Watch your shoulder. We just had Valentine's Day. We just had Valentine's Day. We celebrated that, and then Andy's sister, her son, had their first birthday, so we went to Columbus to celebrate his number one, which is cool.
Nice.
And then Sunday, I was really looking forward to hanging with you guys and seeing everybody, and then all of a sudden, a massive snowstorm decided to hit, and the road's really bad.
They're still really bad.
Yeah, they are.
Dude, going to work this morning was rough, yeah. There was sections where it was just like fine, and then all the drifting, because I live out in the country going into town, and then just drift straight ice. Like I was fishtailing like this real bad. And I was going 30 under the speed limit.
Dude, it was so weird because that night it was like thunderstorming, and then I just wake up to snow. I didn't even look outside before I saw your text. You're like, the roads are bad, we're not coming. I was like, did it snow? And then I looked outside and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I remember we were.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Fish.
I was just saying, Mom was texting us that there was tornado warnings down in Tennessee.
Oh, really?
And then all of a sudden, the following morning, everybody had snow. It was nuts. So kind of ruined the plans for this weekend, but it was all right.
Yeah.
Take a snow check.
Snow check.
Yeah. No, it was. I remember we were playing Ghosts, and all of a sudden I watched this huge crack of lightning, big thunder. And I think I told you about it, and you even heard it. Nut. And yeah, wake up to fresh powder, and I was pissed.
We live about an hour and a half from each other, so.
Well, we were at Alex and Dalton's, so we were in Centerville. We were probably only 20 minutes, 30 minutes, not too far.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, Amy and I are just getting over the flu, so our Valentine's plans kind of got postponed. She's been working on the house today because she had the day off for President's Day. She got a lot of painting done, so that's exciting. So we're getting closer to that move-in date. We're really pumped for. So, but we're gonna do our Valentine's plans, I think, this upcoming weekend, probably Friday or something like that. But
yeah.
Fish, you didn't go to the parade. Sounds like some crazy shit popped off.
I mean, just a little bit of crazy stuff. I was half tempted. We didn't have plans for Valentine's Day. We probably would have gone. I know Pops was over there. He didn't want to stay. I mean, there's 1.2 million people in the city of Philly on the streets, which I think would have been such a cool thing to experience. But I mean, with the team that we have, who knows? You might have to go next year. I don't know. Just speculating, but I don't know. A lot of crazy things. I saw some video. Some guy was wearing a KC shirt. Let's be dumber and wear a Cowboy shirt. So I mean, he was getting all kinds of things thrown at him in downtown Philly. So
yeah, I'm sure. It was.
I saw one thing.
Be smart about it, you know.
Yeah, I saw one thing. I think I sent it to you guys about because everything was closed in Philly for the parade, and public defenders had to go to the jail and tell their clients like, "Hey, you're not getting out today because the Birds won the Super Bowl." And they're like, "Wait, I'm still in jail because my team won." I mean, go Birds, I guess.
Small sacrifices. No, I saw a bunch of pictures of the parade. It kind of reminded me of the Cavs parade. You know, just a sea of fans. Pretty crazy. So,
Yeah, I mean, it looked insane. I really did.
your boy, your GM Howie Roseman got hit in the face with a beer. I think he had to get stitches, which is
I
just
mean, it was a good
wild.
It was a good gash, but like he said, he bleeds for the city. So it was the best way to kind of like.
What a spin!
And it really was. So it looked like everybody was excited. I think Guantanamo Bay and a few others, the younger guys, were drinking just a little too much or a little wobbly on the streets down there. But
Yeah.
looked like everybody had a good time. Or, Saquon was smiling the whole time. AJ was happy. I didn't think I saw Jalen Hurts smile once. So, little things like that. So it was a big win for the city of Philly.
I saw
Big win
Cooper
for
DeJean got smacked in the face too with a championship belt
That he was wearing.
I think he did it to himself, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
Pretty
Saquon found the ball boy in the crowd and pulled him up into the parade with
I
him.
did see that. Yeah.
Which, I mean, how can you hate the guy? You can't. You just can't.
Can't hate Saquon. Like you
That
can't.
guy's just something else. But good news is that the core four and AJ, Devonta, Jalen, and Barkley have all came out and stated that they are ready to get to work again. So it seems like there's, like I said last time, the rise in there it looks pretty good right now, especially with those core four staying together and they're eager to accept the last 48 hours of a win and then, okay, well, we got work to do and immediately go back into that mindset. So big things come from Philly. So enjoy the win, but I think it was even better to see Travis Kelce kind of pout on the sidelines there. Also, a lot of film on him during that game, giving up on a lot of plays.
Yeah, I saw that.
Dude, there was
when Patty was scrambling.
Yeah.
Man just standing there throwing his arms up. And I was like, that's just not a good look for you. Hang it up, bud. Get out.
There was several freeze frames of like the plays already developing and he's still in his stance. Like I don't know if he was just locked out or if it's the age actually getting to him or what, but
Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift getting
maybe he was mad his wife he got booed by Eagles.
He was supposed to propose.
He didn't get to do the engagement because he was down like 34-0. So, yikes.
Yeah, pretty rough.
I mean, he still could. That just would be weird.
Yeah.
Turn this loss into a win for me, Taylor.
How long do you think Jalen Hurts slept for after the parade? Because that man went all over after that win. I mean, he went. I think they took him on a plane. They flew him out to Disney World. He had the parade the next day. And then he was on numerous talk shows.
I'm sure he's still riding that high, though, of winning. And it seems like he didn't. I mean, we saw Saquon chugging wine and beer. I mean, Landon Dickerson had an IV drip in his arm while chugging a beer. So
I saw that.
He didn't really get to see much of, like, Jalen, like, partying like he should. So I'm assuming that he's still riding that high. And, I'm sure he still went to bed at 9 or 10, at a reasonable time. With him and his wife. So I don't know, but you're right. I mean, they flew that man. He's got at least 400,000 Delta points for sure.
So many.
Already.
How you flies free if he's flying out of Philly? Come on.
I want the points, to be honest. I benefit on the points.
You're not wrong.
Dude, I used to travel for the points.
I've never seen a sadder individual on a float in Disney World either. He's just tired. The dude just doesn't smile.
Just tired.
Like,
I saw
like
that one of the Giants players was at Disney World too during that, and he said, "Oh, I was gonna take my daughter and watch the parade today, but it's the Super Bowl parade, so guess who won't be watching that?"
Right.
I saw some guy wearing a Saquon jersey, so vacation ruined.
Yeah, I saw a giant Saquon jersey walking through the parade, and like every Philly fan's cheering him on. Like, thank you for Saquon, we appreciate it.
He won't rush for 2,000 yards next year, will
Oh
he?
yeah, definitely not.
or win a championship. It's just
Right.
talk about someone who's drinking heavily. Is that entire Giants?
I don't know how
offense.
they still are employed.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mister Mayer is going through it right now. I'm sure. But some other drama we had after the Super Bowl, C.J. Gardner Johnson picked a fight with the Swifties, and the Swifties bit back in terms of they just review bombed his mom's business down in Orlando, Florida. I just checked before we started recording, and it looks like most of those have been scrubbed, but there's still several like 1-star reviews with Taylor Swift as the profile picture. So it's kind of crazy that, that's still going on. But I know that some Philly fans and some NFL fans kind of fought back and have started to place some reviews on there, some 5-star reviews. Like, I've never been here, but my friend has, and he said it was great. It's like all the same message. So it's pretty cool that the rest of the NFL community is coming together to fight against the Swifties, which that's why I always say on this podcast, we love the Swifties. We don't want any of that smoke. We want none of that smoke.
It's just ridiculous after that. I mean, it's just so petty, so uncalled for.
No, it is petty.
I even saw a couple TikToks of other like female-led podcasts where they were Swifties and they talk about Taylor Swift and all that, and they were appalled by it. They're like, "You're just ruining the fan base for everyone else because everyone's going to hate us."
Yeah,
100%,
because of this.
100%. But like you said, I mean, look, everybody's going to talk their trash. It's part of sports, right? MJ was one of the best at doing it. Even Larry Bird. I mean,
Larry
all
Bird
the guys,
was an animal.
Yeah.
They talk their trash, and if they win, then they stand on it. If they lose, on to the next one. Hey, it is what it is.
Right.
Travis Kelce has been known to talk trash, a lot of trash.
He talked a lot of trash up to that game during the
100%
podcast he was on and all that.
So I mean, look, CJ, he did what he did. I mean, if you're gonna attack anyone, attack him. I mean, he came from him, but don't ruin a family business or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the great city of Philly that can back people like that. And it's funny because I actually saw something. So Jackson Hunt, one of the rookies that we drafted, didn't get a flag for the celebration that he did. I think he was mimicking Travis. Travis's one with the bow and arrow. NFL came back and fined him $7,000 for that celebration, by the way, who I think Travis does every time he gets a first down. Which, I mean, as a rookie, you guys know, I mean, $7,000 is not, it's a lot of money to those kids.
Yeah.
They're brand new, so, but I thought it was really cool that Rob McElhenney, the Mac that plays in Always Sunny, tweeted at him, was like, hey, float me the bill, I'll cover it, appreciate you guys, all this other stuff. So, but it's just, it's tough to knock down a city when you got such a great community that can build around you and support one another that way. Like, yeah, we're very passionate. We'll flip the switch. We'll let Nick Sirianni know that we don't like him right now.
Yeah.
But the next thing you know, we'll pick up somebody who has been slandered or whatever it may be. Pick up the tab on a penalty or anything like that, or a fine. So it's just very interesting to see. I mean, the CJ's the restaurant thing is kind of wild, but again, sucks for that first few hours. And then once people get a wind of it, next thing you know, all these 5-star reviews start coming into place. People start stepping up. It's just a great community to be around.
Yeah.
It's just good stuff. It's something that we needed. Can't get close enough in any other sport. So
I think Sirianni might be the best fitting coach in the NFL. He's just got the swagger of Philly.
He is, and it reminds me of even when he's yelling at the fans, right? And we've all done this. The guy sucks ass 3 games in a row, and we want to, all right, fire him, get somebody else in there. I was kind of, and I think we said this in the podcast too. That was a statement, right? We ended up winning. We shut the fans up. He turned around, let the emotions loose. He even admitted that he let the emotions loose. How many times have I done that this year? I mean, how many times we got to sit in Eli saying,
a few times,
get this guy out. Get the Gainwell. Who's this guy? Get him out. Love him in the playoffs. Get the guy out. So,
you called for Gainwell's head a couple times this year. That's for sure.
A few times. Guy's been killing
I think
me.
there's
But
a earlier episode with a nice like hour rant.
Yeah,
yeah,
Like
it's
half
something
that's like
that.
half the pod.
get
I
him
think they
out.
emailed. But no, I don't think there's any other coach that could step in and fill in those shoes and be. Uh, he's a good coach, but you also need that guy that's gonna fight for you and have your back and be that almost that cheerleader type that we've talked about all season. And he fit that. He let Jalen do his thing. He trusted his OCs and his DCs and kind of rallied everybody behind him. He didn't really need to step in and be that Tomlin or that Belichick that everything had to run through. He just had to be there for his players. And you saw him running up and down the sidelines of anytime we scored, even when Saquon run it, or when Will Shipley broke off, or even when Dijon Mustard intercepted and ran for a touchdown. Sirianni, somebody check that guy's 40 time. Because I'm pretty sure it's 4-2. Because he is all the way down there sprinting, celebrating with the guys. And that's what a lot of these players need, at least on Philly team. So it was a good win. It was good. I mean, I keep replaying it in my head from all that stuff. And of course, we're now seeing the clips and stuff. But it was a good time. Really, really good time. We're excited about it.
Yeah, speaking of Dijon Mustard, we do have some new merch out. And I will show it to you right now. It's on GameTimeGents.com. Give me a second here. Sorry, this is our first live episode here, so bear with me. We made a couple shirts. Got your Dijon Mustard, your Poetry in Motion for the offensive line, and then Saiyan Quad. So those are live right now. GameTimeGents.com. If you want to go ahead and pick one up, do so. It'd be cool.
The Dijon Mustard is absolute.
It's playing words. Twice.
But I love it, man. That's a great one. The poetry one is incredible too. And Saiyan Quad. I mean, can't go wrong with that. But I mean, that perfectly explains the offensive line.
Yeah, definitely. We've been saying it all year.
Week in, week out. I mean, it's crazy to see how potent an offensive and defensive line in the trenches can be in a playoff game, especially not blitzing and getting to the quarterback. It's wild to me how incredibly in depth and powerful, I guess, that the O line and especially the D line can be to really turn the tides in a game. So it's something, but I mean, they got a hell of a team.
Yeah, when you can get over 5 sacks with a 4-man rush and your quarterback has just all the time in the world to throw the ball, I mean, easily going to win that game.
Yeah, I think I said it last time. I'm probably going to stand by it. I think it's the best Eagles team we've ever seen in history, with just the tiers that they had, the young players, and what they did. By far, a better team, better than 22, and better when we won it back in 17. It's a different team. It just really is.
I mean, people are saying it's the best Super Bowl roster ever put together.
I've heard that too. I don't want to stand on that, but I got a couple podiums over here I can stand on. It might be true. I mean, that is for how young that team is and how much depth there is. It's kind of wild. So I mean, at least we beat the hell out of Kansas City, and Dallas didn't make the playoffs again. So we're good with it. Gary's talking about those glory holes again. Yeah,
it's just
this guy.
Jesus Christ.
That's
No, but for I mean, we talked about it last week. Football has evolved so much since it started. It used to just be all running plays, wing T back in the day, I formation, the fullback, the halfbacks, all that stuff, the tailback.
Bring the fullback position back, though.
True, yeah. Now it's more of a passing league, and it doesn't matter. You still got to build that team in the trenches. Otherwise, you're not going to have any success, and the Eagles really have hung their hat on that. So, all right, you guys got anything else to say about the parade or any post-Super Bowl drama?
No.
Before we get into our tier list here, our way too early power rankings tier list?
Way too early.
You doing the live voting poll on it? We can all vote on it? I just made one real quick.
Oh. Where'd you make it? I'm sorry.
I mean, I just made one while Fish was talking there, just so I could have my takes up.
You saying I'm rambling?
No, sir. You're passionate about your team, man. I get that.
People told me in the past my stories go on a little too long. I can't believe it. I just want to put you in my shoes.
I'm just glad people can see you talk now.
I kind of like being the man behind the
Man behind the
lamp.
mask.
Yeah, essentially,
This is actually AI fish. It's pretty crazy. So
just way better looking. I should have shaved a little bit more today. Yeah,
I haven't shaved in
What's a
8 months.
razor?
honestly 4 months maybe. This is all you
That's
got.
wild to me. That's how we grow.
This is all you got.
That's even blessed by the guys.
No.
It
All right.
only grows there.
I mean, there's a
It
little
is
bit here. It's just not picking up on the camera. So
Peach fuzz.
very clear hair.
I'm gonna just ferment it all one day.
That's crazy.
All right, let's get into this tier list. So you guys just want to start at the top? I did put our teams here at the end, just so we have something to look forward to, because some of these are going to be tough to talk about. Like the first one, Cardinals. Where are we putting the Cardinals? I think they're probably
A C tier.
I would
Yeah.
agree with. Well,
Think
rumor
you
is
got
that
it.
they're trying to get rid of Kyler Murray. From what I've
Okay.
seen, is that they're possibly trying to trade out Kyler Murray and get somebody else in there. I think they sit at C unless Murray's gone, and then they get like a Jaden Daniel type player. It's C. I mean, they're a good team still. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. You know, they got a
their
great receiver.
their
They
defense
got.
is abysmal.
It's not good. It's not good. But the draft is coming up, free agency. They can make some moves. And if Kyler B is the piece to make those moves, then I could see him pulling the trigger on that. But at the end of the day, C tier is about right, if not a little too high. But I think they got such young, Trey Benson's back there, James Conner's still there. They
Yep,
got some studs there. I mean, who's their tight end again?
Trey McBride. He's very good.
Yeah,
Only
he's
had
really
one
good.
touchdown last year.
Carried the team. Yeah, carried the team for what,
But
1,000
Yep.
yards.
yeah, he's
So
very good.
Yeah, I had him
Um,
in D, but on the high end of D, just because I wasn't sure. 'Cause like you said, they do have some pieces there. I think if they can just get a couple more to put in that puzzle, they can definitely hop up a tier.
That's kind of where
I mean,
I'd put him too, in the high end of D.
yeah,
I'll
Just-
put
but
him
I
on
do
high
like
end
I like it's like right in the middle. It's
Yeah.
like C. It's like C/D.
Put him in D. I'll walk out now. You guys take over.
Do we add a new tier
Unbelievable.
already? C/D?
Mid AF, mid AF, just
Double
middle of the
ass Danny
road.
Dimes?
Any times?
I love Danny Dimes.
All right, next team here we have the Atlanta Falcons. Probably not going to have Kurt Cuddy next year. I mean, it's almost written on the wall, but
I think that's good for them though.
they're going to have Michael Penix going forward. Let's see if he can make any type of chemistry going forward with Kyle Pitts and Drake London. They have Bijan there. That offense on paper should be pretty good, but
He looked good. He looked good towards the end. He was
Yeah,
finding the chemistry. Kyle Pitts, I mean, the guy's got all the athleticism in the world to be an insane tight end. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they tried to do any type of trades to get him out and get in someone else that could possibly block a little bit better or is more of that maintain over the middle, catch, sit down 10, 12 yards and be okay with that. It's just, we've seen flashes in the pans of that guy, and we'll talk more into the season. Hopefully, training camp, stuff like that, off season, he kind of steps it up a little bit. But I mean, this last couple of years, we thought it was the quarterback. Now, is it really the quarterback? I mean, is it just his talent? We've seen him get blown up on the edge trying to block anybody, and all of a sudden, Kirk Cuddy or Penix is getting sacked or scrambling. There's something more with him, and he's young enough and has a talent that if you can trade him and get some other pieces or picks to let somebody else take a gamble on it. Look, worst comes to worst, he balls out. If anything, he doesn't. Kind of like what he's been doing the last 3 years. Might work out for the Falcons, but I don't know. There's something weird going on. But again, like you said, offensive young. I mean, they got great receivers.
yeah.
Insane running back. It looks like Michael Penix looked good towards the end of the season. Who knows? Next year, I don't know. It could be the sophomore slump. Could see a CJ Stroud type thing. But he looked good. They look good towards the end of the year, and the defense isn't half bad either. So
Yeah, Caden Ellis is very good there. I think that they still have AJ Terrell. I'm pretty sure.
they do, yeah.
So Kyle Pitts it's funny. Like, I think his big knock coming out of Florida was his route running, and it's never really developed, which I think that needs to develop for him to be more successful in the league. He's, like you said, he's had a flash in the pan or two, but I don't know, man. It's tough to grade Kyle Pitts as one of the top tight ends. He's got the potential.
1,000%.
I would be comfortable putting the Falcons in B tier based on what we just said.
I can see it being about average.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I think
B2.
Michael Penix did look good. Him sitting most of the year does help too. We've talked about that before.
The development,
where like with Danny Dimes and all these other quarterbacks, they just get thrown into the fire right off rip. You get your your CJ Strouds and your Jaden Daniels every once in a while, but unless they can actually sit back and watch the speed of the NFL and the toughness of it, that's how they really become successful. So I think him having most of that year to do this and learn behind Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, and maybe he's reaching the end of his career more than likely, but still not a bad man to learn from, I would say. So with those weapons that he does have, like you said, even if they do get rid of Kyle Pitts, they'll get something for him with Drake London and Bijan in the backfield. I think they have they draft well, and they're probably making the playoffs possibly.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually picked them last year to win their division. Now, I didn't see Tampa Bay being the stalwart that they were this year, but
Baker.
Oh, through injury,
Baker
Baker's
nuts.
God, the whole city of Cleveland's probably kicking themselves in the ass over that one.
Could be
Baker and honestly, Bucky Irving too.
Bucky Irving. Honestly, I think Rashad White needed Bucky Irving because he had a good season too.
Yeah,
he just needed that change of pace in the backfield. He couldn't be the guy. So, but let's talk about a team with the guy. Derrick Henry, is he still going to be a Raven next year? Do you guys think he's going to retire? Is he's gonna keep the tractor Cito going?
I think he stays on the team, but I think the Ravens draft a younger running back. I know they have a plethora there. They've got that really fast kid,
Keaton Mitchell.
But I think he's a $130 wet. Yeah. So I mean, if he gets popped, he's done. I think that they have proven that they don't need that quick, fast guy out of the backfield like they've tried to in the past. With Lamar and his ability to move quickly in and out of the pocket, having that workhorse, that massive human back there to really wear out that D-line and linebackers really freed up a lot of space and a lot of time, importantly, for Lamar to kind of scatter out and go, okay, damn, I got another 10 seconds because the D-line is crazy tired because they just tried to tackle Derrick Henry. I think he comes back. But I think the Ravens start to look to the future. I mean, he is aging. Now he does take really, really good care of his body, but age does catch up to people.
Yeah.
That we've seen in a lot of these older guys. So I expect to see Derrick Henry kind of trend somewhat downward and for them to kind of look for his replacement in the next couple of years. But it wouldn't surprise me if it's another big body back like a Derrick Henry type to wear down those defenses. But I think he stays. I think it'd be dumb for him to go anywhere else. I think it'd be dumb for the Ravens to let him go. I think they could restructure a contract to make him stay. Somewhat. I mean, he's still good. He's still worth a lot, but I don't think he's not going to get 15, 20 million like some of these other guys want. But I mean, he runs the ball all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big part of their success this past year. And I mean, we've seen it. I mean, he still the touchdowns that he ran for. Still running for 23 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wears the team down, and then he's
Absolutely.
able to explode at the end of the game. So I know he's about 30. Sorry, go ahead, Zoltowski.
You have the Lamar effect on top of that, where they're also like you can't just
the read option.
The read option. That read option is insane on that. I've seen so many clips where I think it's dumb if he doesn't come back, just because he's built that chemistry with those guys, that O-line, and just to know you have a quarterback that they are also going to think, oh, he can run the ball too, and he can run the ball really well. I mean, you look at the year he had, I think we said at 30.
Yeah.
And like you said, Fish, he's still hitting 23 miles an hour. But dude's still fast. He's still got something in the tank. So I think he stays. I think they make another run at it.
His
Um,
career also might be a little shifted because if you remember right, he was kind of a late bloomer. He didn't really play much his first year in Tennessee. Maybe not even a second because I think they had DeMarco Murray at that point, and they were kind of doing the 1-2 punch thing, and they just kept giving DeMarco the ball. But Derrick Henry, I mean, I don't think he plays for any other team but Baltimore next year. It's just my curiosity was going to be the fact, is he going to stay or is he going to retire? Because
He stays. Comes back.
he stays.
yeah,
The best opportunity to try and get a ring.
Yep.
That team, they're missing like 1 or 2 extra pieces, and then they're set. Now, if Lamar can ever get, same thing with Josh Allen, which we'll talk about. If they can ever get past that hump of incredible gameplay throughout the regular season, playoffs hit, and all of a sudden they become choke artists. Now, both of them are labeled as, one says can't get past Kansas City for 4 years in a row now. That's over his head, and the other one just chokes in the playoffs. Is MVP caliber and then turns into DeMarcus Russell in the playoffs.
mm-hmm.
They're trying to get past that hump. Derrick Henry's the best option for him to get past that hump, and of course make it into the playoffs, especially with that division. Steelers aren't really slept on. The Bengals, if they can draft a defense or anyone or a defense, they could be
Cornerback?
They're not signing anybody, so
they're franchising, they're franchise tagging
T again.
Higgins, so
he's about to make money this year.
He'll be on the way out. Yeah, it's gonna be stupid.
He's about to make bank this year, dude.
But yeah, I don't see, this is Derrick Henry's best and really only option for him to get a ring unless he goes to like Kansas City. But then he's one of those guys that tries to chase the ring, which is it's not the loyalty that we all see. We also have these guys coming out of retirement to go jump on the Lions or jump on these teams like, hey, just trying to get a ring here. Didn't do it my first 20 years, but here's the option.
Yeah.
I don't think Derrick Henry wants to be a part of that at all. So he'll stay. He'll be the momentum shift, but don't be surprised if they draft another running back his size and caliber, at least close to it, a big bruiser, because of what he has done single-handedly to kind of open up the realm and more scattered for Lamar to kind of just run outside and do what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Like Zoltowski said, very, very lethal combo, especially about the RPO and stuff. So
for me, the Ravens are bottom S, top A for me.
S for sure.
S for sure.
I would think S.
Yeah.
I think they're S, but they're on the bottom half of the S, I think.
Yep.
Depending on the other
I would agree
team
with
we put
that.
up there.
Now, the next team, as you were just alluding to, the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, reigning MVP. He did have a lot of holes in that receiver court, at least it looked like in the beginning of the year. Khalil Shakir kind of took off this year a little bit. He's got those 2 tight ends that are very good, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. Keon Coleman, I think, could still have potential in the league. He was pretty quiet this year as his rookie year, but we'll have to see where that goes from then on. But their defense is still very good.
I think if Amari can learn that playbook a little bit better too, he'll be a good weapon there because he was good on the Browns.
Dude, he was absent after he got traded.
Yeah, and he had that one play where he lateraled it back to Josh, and I think it's a big point of that is you're shifting probably from one offense type to another, and now you have to learn all these plays, all these different call outs. Like, and there's clips where he's asking, I think he was asking Keon Coleman or one of the younger guys, hey, what the fuck am I running here? Oh, sorry, bad language.
No, you're good. Fuck it.
But yeah, fuck it. But I think if he can get more ingrained into that offense, he'll do well there. James Cook also had a good year. He had a couple standout games where he broke off some big rushes, made some big plays.
Ray Davis looked decent. Even Ty Johnson stepped up a little bit. So I think to me they're top half of A.
Yeah, top half of A.
I don't think they're quite S unless we get more help for Josh, but I think A is pretty attainable there for them. Now this next one's going to be interesting. Carolina. How do we feel about the way Bryce Young finished the year?
Like, I'm just going to come straight out with it. For me, is top of D. Bryce Young played really, really well at the end of the year. They're just missing too many pieces. We talked about it all year last year. I think them benching him and bringing a vet in to kind of show him the ropes a little bit helped him one, not get just absolutely destroyed in the backfield because their offensive line is made of Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
But you know, he learned definitely something from him. He came back looking like a different player. Finished, like you said, finished the year very, very strong. I think if they can draft well, they'll go up a tier, maybe, or they'll win a couple more games. I just think there's too many missing pieces on that team for them to, make the playoffs next year, unless they do some insane trades or pick up the next studs in a couple positions that are sleepers. Who knows? But top of D for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say top of D, bottom half of C, just because they have a really good rushing attack, but that's about it. I mean, like you said, Bryce had some issues at the beginning of the year. That whole car crash thing happened with Andy Dalton, the benching, the starting. And Xavier Legette, like, they drafted him so high to be the guy, and he didn't really pan out as much as you would like him to. He wasn't like a Brian Thomas Jr. or anything like that. Malik Neighbors, their rookie year. So I think keeping them about there is probably accurate. I can't really think of a player on their defense either to even talk about. Like, their defense is kind of just 11 dudes that played football this year.
Yeah, but
all I can
in
say.
hindsight, though, it looks good for the rushing game, right? They bring in that young guy who had 2 ACL injuries in college. They let him sit for a year. Everybody thought Chuba Hubbard was, just going to be that bridge guy. You got to think, like Nutt said, they didn't really have a receiving core, nor a quarterback that could really throw it. Towards the end, yeah, sure. But throughout the season, Chuba Hubbard faced a lot of teams that stacked the box. They loaded that box. And he's still popping off for 100 yards and a couple touchdowns. Fantasy heads up, just if he's out there, or if you can snag him early, that guy showed he's got grit. He's got grit, and he showed that he can.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter how many guys are in the box.
If you're in a keeper league and he's on your team, I'm sure you drafted him late. That's your keeper for next year. Because Jonathan Brooks tore his ACL again this year. What a brutal rookie season for that kid. But, I mean, you have possibly a top 5 producing back. I'm not saying talent-wise he's top 5, but top 5 producing back for probably a late pick in the draft. So
especially how often they're going to run it, for sure. I mean, if he's going to average 100 yards and a touchdown, that's 16 points easy all day.
Definitely.
All day. So, but I mean, top D. That makes sense. They're missing a lot of pieces, like Zoltowski said. Bryce Young looked good, but last 5 games.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people are really going? I mean, they won a couple games to push them further out of the pick, the early onset pick. So I know there's a lot of question, like, why are we winning? Like, great that they look good. No need to drop 35 points twice in a row. Like, what are we doing, guys? So, but I think
talk to the Giants about that one.
Right.
They really shit the bed all this year.
This whole year.
The entire season. All right, so this next team is probably the team with the biggest question marks, I would say, going into next year.
Judge me for mine.
I want to put them B because I think that their ceiling is A and their floor is C. I think Caleb Williams is going to be the first 4,000-yard passer that the Chicago Bears have ever had in their franchise history, which is crazy. The Bears have been a team for God knows how long. We could probably look that up, but my windows are kind of locked at this point. I can't really look anything up. So,
give me a minute. But Bears have been
I one of the first franchises.
I got him bottom of B.
Like, and you got him bottom of B. I think that's probably mid B, high B, bottom B. I'd say B is probably an accurate
1920, over 100 years of Bears football.
1920, and they've never had a 4,000-yard passer. God, that's crazy. I can't believe Jay Cutler never got it.
He's out there smoking cigarettes and swinging rocks, man. Jay Cutler's a legend.
Throwing picks everywhere.
Wild.
Dude, we have no one in secret right now, which is crazy.
Yeah. But no, I think a lot of their problems were leadership.
Yeah.
And I can't
so
wait.
For that timeout. Still
I
living that down.
can't wait to talk about the Cowboys. I can't wait.
Because Eberflus is our DC now.
Yes, yes.
Which he's always
Teams
been a
in,
good DC, but
teams in fucking shambles, man. But hiring Ben Johnson, that's a great
it's
move.
huge.
As much as it hurts me, to see him go be a Bear. He took
Antoine
our wide
Randall.
receiver. Thank you.
Yeah.
He's got a mouthful of a name. Caleb he had a good year.
He did.
He really did. If you look at
Quietly.
his stats, quit laughing, Fish. I swear to God, I'll reach to the screen and I'll bop you. He had a good year. Keenan Allen didn't play bad. Rome didn't see a whole lot at the beginning of the season. At the end of the year, he got a little bit more looks. I don't think they have a bad tight end. I can't remember his name.
Cole Kmet.
Full comment.
Yep, Cole Kmet.
Yep.
Cole Kmet. Swift. I don't think Swift comes back next year. I think they look for a different back, and that's honestly probably for the best. And their defense. Their defense was solid.
Yeah, their defense was very good.
It's the only reason they won their first game. They only scored points on the other side, on the wrong side of the ball.
Yep.
So yeah, I think you're right in saying their ceiling's A, floor is C. Put them at the end of B just because they're teetering more towards C right now because there's just such a big question mark. But we'll see what Ben Johnson does. The NFC North is a tough division. With how the Vikings looked this year, KOC, and the Packers are always good. The Lions have been on a hot streak, even though they just lost their whole coaching staff. Still a good team over there, so that'll be a tough division to be in. But Ben Johnson does know it.
So let me ask you this: would you put the Bears above the Falcons or below the Falcons right now? Fish is shaking his head no.
Yeah, I got to go with Fish. I think they're more even than anything, honestly. I wish we could put them right next to each other because they both got that. They got that sophomore year quarterback now. The Falcons have a better rushing game. They do have a little bit better receivers, but the Bears defense is way better than the Falcons defense.
Yeah, I would
by
agree
a mile.
With that. I would agree with that.
But I think Penix has a better chance to succeed because he's been in that system now for a year with the same coaching staff and all that. So, and he'll have the same running backs, he'll have the same backfield. I know Caleb will probably have the same receiver core most likely, but that backfield's going to change, so he'll have to learn and get some chemistry with that guy. So,
was
I think just
Swift
a slight
on the way
edge.
out?
I think he is. He's hopped from team to team. Lately, he went from the Lions to the Eagles, and then I think this is the longest he's been lately is with the Bears. I think he was only with the Lions for a year, and then he went to the Eagles, right, Fish?
Yeah, he went to the Eagles. But then again, we just like the Marco Murray thing, we did not run Swift enough, right? Even with the little carries that he was getting, the 13 to 15, he was still averaging 60, 70 yards. So production was there. We just weren't using it right. Now, obviously, it all kind of led into the whole Saquon Barkley thing. So that's fine for us. But I would have to disagree with you on that. I think Swift stays. I think this team has the most potential out of a young squad with the veteran receivers that, like Nutt said, they could catapult into A. All they need to do is just sync up on the same page just once, and everything will kind of fall into place. So I don't think he leaves because I think he understands and knows that they're an off season away from things clicking.
Yep.
And we did see it click. We saw it click a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
You feed, and we said feed the
feed your best players.
Feed them. You got to feed them. Feed Swift. Then the whole offense started moving. But like you guys said, Caleb played well. He played well. Wasn't like a glorified, pop the champagne bottles or anything like that. But he played statistically well. So I think Swift gives it another year. They may draft another running back just to give him some type of competition because it doesn't look like Roshan Johnson is the guy. And I know Khalil Herbert was out. He went to a different team. So
yeah, he's in
there's
Cincinnati
really not much
Yeah.
competition back there. So I can see them getting another change of pace back like a DeAndre Swift to kind of give him that competition. But I think he stays at least for this year. Now, the following year, I mean, he's getting what 27, 28 will be then. So
Yeah,
it'll be about
he
that
was
time.
drafted in 2020.
Starting to get up there.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, just to touch on Caleb's stats real quick. He had a 62.5 completion percentage for 3,500 yards with 20 TDs and only 6 interceptions, with a rating of 87.8.
Probably would have
He
been
did
rookie
lead
of
the
the year
league.
if Jaden Daniels didn't exist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did lead the league with 68 sacks
Yeah,
for
that's crazy.
466 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he fumbled the ball 10 times.
I think the next
So-
closest one was double digits away from that too, right?
Yeah, I think it was. Their offensive line was abysmal. They were horrible.
As long as Ben Johnson does this.
CJ Stroud was next with 52.
As long as Ben Johnson knows his lefts from his rights, he'll be all right.
Hey, you know what? At least he's checking and not leaving timeouts on the clock.
That's
Rumor
true.
has it Everflux still has like 2 or 3 in his back pocket. He's bringing with him to the Cowboys.
He just needs his
Wow.
Denny's play sheet, and he needs the whole left side to just be a giant L, so he knows. But yeah, no, I think that's a good spot for the Bears. Now, the Bengals, we've already talked about how bad their defense is. I think that they locked Jamar up for a while, did they not, during the season last year? I could be wrong on that. Joe Burrow's there.
know.
As long as they can keep him upright, this team's floor, as long as they keep Joe Burrow upright, their team's floor is a high B. And they can be all the way up to a low S, I would say. Joe Burrow's that good.
Are you putting him at a low B?
No, a high B.
Oh, high B. You're putting him at B?
No. I'm putting them at A. I'm saying their floor is a high B.
Oh, the basement.
Yeah, their absolute basement is a high B.
That's what I was like. Oh man, whatever you're smoking, send it my way.
If Joey B goes out, they're going to be low.
Oh, 100%.
I had him high B, just because of the Swiss cheese defense.
Yeah,
That's
the defense
great.
is.
And Joey B's made out of glass. It seems like he's every year he's been hurt.
I think he's
Well,
tougher than we give him credit for, man. He's getting hit
I'm sorry, I forgot
everywhere.
we're talking about Nutter's new favorite team.
Oh,
No, we just talked about it. They're the Ravens. They're in S tier, aren't they?
I thought it was he flip flops between the Ravens and the Bengals and the Steelers.
Flip-flops
Anybody
from the
else in the AFC North? But no, I can agree with the A.
behind me right now.
though.
But yeah.
As you guys are talking about it, I really didn't watch a whole bunch of the Bengals this year. I just remember us talking about them. I will be watching them next year though when they play the Lions. I say we go to the game. I think it'll be fun.
I can go. I saw him play the Eagles this year.
Oh, did you go to the Eagles game?
I did go to the Eagles game. We
Is
had
you-
really good seats, and then the Eagles won the Super Bowl, so I watched the Super Bowl winning team. It's fucking wild.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
dude. I'm hoping I can maybe watch a Stanley Cup winning team this year.
That'd be sick.
That'd be sick.
You're
You
going
don't
to
know
That'd be
the
sick. I've got
classic here soon.
yes. I got tickets on on March 1st for the Stadium Series. I'm excited about that. Now I just need to go to the Winter Classic.
What
And I
stadium
can-
is that?
It's Ohio Stadium, with your wonderful new defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia.
Dude, Matt Patricia's a great DC. I don't know why he's getting flamed. Bad office or bad. Bad
Where was he a
coach.
good DC at, and who was his head coach?
He's the worst.
He's a
so
good
bad.
DC.
Oh,
Okay,
He's a
again,
bad offensive coordinator. Why did Bill put him in offensive coordinator when he came back?
he came to be a DC for us, didn't he?
No.
no, he was the head coach for the Lions, and
He
he
was the
got
head coach
fucking
for the
booed out of
Lions.
town 2 years in.
And we picked him up.
I don't
I
think
just
so.
swore as a DC.
Hey, give me
Maybe
a
he
second.
did.
I'll
I
look it
don't
up.
know. I've admitted
I'm-
that from my memory.
Pretty sure we snagged him. And
Yeah,
I
He was
wanted-
your senior defensive assistant in 23.
Defensive assistant. He's not doing anything there.
Yeah.
He's
so he
doing
was-
some things. They showed a shit ton of them on the camera when they would fuck up on defense.
You know what
Like,
he's doing?
so-
He's going, hey, you're a D lineman.
He was the
for
Patriots
$800,000? Absolutely, I'll do it.
assistant O-line coach from 04 to 05, the linebacker coach from 06 to 2010, safeties coach 2011, their DC from 2012 to 2017, and then he became the head coach of the Lions 2018 to 2020,
Dumpster
dark
fire.
times, right before Dan Campbell.
Dumpster fire.
Oh my god, it was so bad.
Zoltowski, though,
So
Ohio
bad.
State will be fine because they got 38 million in cash that they could just spend on players, right?
Yeah, and then they'll still lose a couple games and win the Natty.
Yeah, that checks
So
out.
I'm
Though.
right with
that's
that.
fine.
I'm right with
I don't
that.
even
I mean,
care about college football. I don't even give a shit. You know, I don't even care.
good. You guys, like I said, I'll say it again. Fucking tell them blue in the fucking face. Should have won. Should have went undefeated. And you should have won the Natty this year. $20 million fucking roster. Best wide receiving car in the country.
As his shoulder.
Throw the fucking ball.
We won
Don't
the
get
Natty.
all, oh, we can run the
know.
ball too. No, do what you're fucking good at and win the goddamn football game. Who gives a shit how you win? Just win.
We're going on a tangent right now.
Okay.
Well,
Fucking Cowboys.
Oh,
F tier.
Cowboys, yep. I'm
Put them in the
putting
F
down.
tier.
Their coaching decisions.
Bottom of D. They're behind. Because their
Put 'em-
quarterback situation is even fucking wonky.
Put them in the glory hole section. It's got
It's a new tier.
What's a
other
glory
section.
hole, Dad?
Put them down there.
I,
But
can't,
in
I
all
still can't
seriousness,
believe you said that. It's crazy.
That team, they've got a few pieces. Dak will be back. They sink too much money in them. The defense isn't horrible. I think the confidence was just knocked out of them, right? You got Mike McCarthy, who's just another Jason Garrett yes man for Jerry Jones. I get Eberflus in there. You never know. It could be a change of pace. You might have 4 timeouts. I don't know. Dallas
Actually, I don't
still.
think coordinators can call timeouts, right?
He'll try. He'll try if he can.
Schottenheimer hopes not.
You got to think though, the receiving core is still lethal, right? Running backs, it looks like they found a new guy in there who did fairly well. Good pass catching back out of the backfield as well. I think D tier is a little harsh. I might be a little biased. I think giving them C tier. I mean, Dak's gonna come back. He'll be okay. He'll force feed CD. The defense will kind of reawaken. They just had an off year. The Eagles had an off year, and then the following year we did incredible. So
are you not putting them in D tier?
I put them in C. I'd be a little realistic. I put them in C. The talent's there.
What
Again, it's one of those situations they just need to get back on page.
What if Dak is force feeding the ball to Jerry Jeudy next year? It's a rumor.
It's a rumor, but yeah, rumors.
I mean, they've got the money to spend, don't they?
I
Or
mean,
they?
that's
No.
great.
Dak going to Cleveland.
Yeah,
Oh.
if that goes to Cleveland, you'll pay another guy $1 billion, and then you guys, that's okay. It's fine. Myles Garrett's out. He'll go to a winning team like the Eagles or the Lions, and we'll
God,
finally
I
get him
hope he comes to Detroit.
a ring. But to get back on track, right? Get back on track.
We'll talk about
Even-
that soon enough.
I'd rather not. Even if Dak does leave, then obviously they would go back down to D tier. They got who in there?
Cooper
Trey
Rush,
Lance?
Cooper Rush.
Oh, they have Cooper Rush still?
Cooper Rush.
who still
So
does the
bottom
here
of
we
the
go,
C
which is
is what
weird.
you're
Put him back,
saying.
put him back in the glory hole section.
Put it back in D.
Yeah.
Dak is the only thing that's going to keep him in there because they're not drafting a quarterback this year. Probably not going to draft one next year either. Dak still has plenty of time left on his contract. He's not 1,000 years old. He has been known to go in some rough stances. He's still a decent quarterback. Not great. He'll win you games, but not get you to the playoffs. So they'll buy him some years there, and they'll just interchange coaches left and right. So C tier, I think, is fine for the talent that they have. CD's a top 5 receiver, right? It doesn't matter who's throwing it to him. He'll get his points. So I just need to get everybody synced back on track, and they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And Jerry needs to put up some curtains in the stadium.
Definitely.
Yeah, 'cause players crazy, man. It's wild.
Maybe patch up some of those holes.
On to
Not
the
that.
next one.
At the trucker rest stops.
All right, on to the next one. We got the Denver Broncos.
Broncos country.
We got Bo Nix. We got Bo Nix, and we got Bo Nix and Cortland
Cortland
Sutton.
Cortland Sutton.
That's the name I was looking for. Marvin Mims
Marvin
Jr.
Mims.
We got a little bit of a
what's-
running back by committee there, which proved to be okay last year. I think their ceiling is probably B. I think that they're realistically probably a high side of C team, though. if I'm going to be honest. I mean, Bo Nix was good, but I think he needs a little bit more help. Well, I don't know. That defense is really good there.
Look, Bo Nix early in the season had a rough spot, right?
Yeah.
We all saw it coming. They threw him into it. We're like, is he the same Bo Nix that he was in Auburn? Maybe. He lost a couple of games, then
Auburn,
finally
Oregon.
found his footing, and started playing to what he did in college. Now, a lot of players can't make that transition from college to pros and kind of bring their game. They always have to alter it, right? Bo looks like he can kind of bring his running capabilities from college, what he did very well, had high success, especially throwing on the run, and just bring it into the NFL, which he showcased with the sleeper agent Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, and the running back committee. That team was one of the most surprising teams last year, right? We were thinking bottom tier, they're not going to do anything.
Right.
They didn't do shit the last few years. They kind of popped off of the end, and he did carry them to into the playoffs. So I think B tier is reasonable. I think they're the same thing, same type caliber, like the Falcons. Little less question marks than the Bears, but I mean they're up there. It wouldn't surprise me if they carried them to the playoffs again. They won the first round of the games, but it also wouldn't surprise me if for some reason they had that sophomore slump and went sub 500 by a game or two, or went even. So I can see it going multitude of ways, but Bo Nix is. I mean, he's got to be the guy that carries him.
I think a high B is probably pretty attainable for them.
Mhm.
Now that I rethink about it, that defense is just so good. Going next here, we have the Packers. This one's pretty easy for me. They were just really hurt by injuries last year, I think. And I think that the Packers are probably a low A team. I think that's about where they're at. I mean, Jordan Love's good. They always have a good QB. They've got that running game with Josh Jacobs. Hopefully they get another change of pace back behind him. They kind of missed on that in the draft a little bit, I think, with that young kid that they brought in there. I can't remember his name at the moment, but their receiving core is decent. They just need to have a coach that's going to check their egos, and I hope that Matt LaFleur does that next year, because there was a lot of, people talking about Romeo Dobbs. Christian Watson got hurt. Jaden Reed we all thought was going to be this crazy player, and he ended up not doing much last year. Hopefully that changes, but yeah, I think that's probably pretty attainable for them, is low A. You guys agree with
I
that?
agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
All valid. All good points.
All right, Houston Texans. This is another big question mark. CJ Stroud.
Mid B.
Kind of the same thing with them, just decimated with injuries. I think they're probably above the Falcons in B. I would even argue maybe above the Broncos, but possibly not.
I put them above the Broncos. They got a little bit more established team there. Joe Mixon shows that he's still got plenty in the tank to run.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the season, I don't think they gave him enough opportunities. Now, sometimes he does start out slow, 6 rushes for 8 yards or 10 yards, and then he finds that groove. The next thing you know, it's 10, 15, 10 yards, 15 yards. Then he breaks off for a 30. You got to force feed your best guy. And in that moment, outside of Nico Collins, who has really showcased, I know Tank Dell had his injuries and such like that, still a good ball player. Nico Collins, if you can force feed him and then just hand it off to Joe Mixon, who has plenty in the tank, that's a lethal 1-2-3 combo that they have going on there. Even with Dalton Schultz in there at tight end. I mean, that offense is, they're pretty good. I would put them probably top tier B right now with what we have, just based on the talent they have alone and the veteran leadership that they have at some of those positions there. So
I'd like to see what the stat was of Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, and Tank Dell being on the field at the same time, because I don't think it was much. Because they all got injured at some point in the season. I think Stephon went out for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
I can't remember about when that was, but Tank Dell, another gruesome knee injury. Hopefully he bounces back quick. But yeah, I think high B is pretty attainable for them. All right. Indianapolis Colts. Now, I did see on Twitter today, I don't know how true this is, somebody bought a billboard saying, "We will not sign Aaron Rodgers in Indianapolis." So,
Going
so
to the Giants.
he could. I don't know. Maybe he won't go anywhere. By the way, the Aaron Rodgers documentary on Netflix is great. Aaron Rodgers Enigma, very good.
Like laugh track great or like
No, it's pretty,
serious great?
it's pretty good. Serious great.
Okay.
Kind of opens your eyes to his way of thinking, but he's still kind of a loon. If they start Anthony Richardson all year, where do you guys put the Colts? See?
C tier.
Just
Unless somehow it goes on a long hike, smokes a mayada, little peyote, and now he can pass like a mother. I mean,
Don't forget the darkness
yeah.
retreat.
has a darkness
I mean,
retreat.
I think they got the potential. We've been saying this all year, right? Anthony Richardson, he's got the talent. He's a big body, quick, he uses his legs very, very well. If he could just up his accuracy, just 8 percentage points, they would have won 4 or 5 more games. But because of his incapability of throwing the ball remotely downfield or missing short passes, it's costed that offense, costed Jonathan Taylor a good run. It's almost like the Saquon Barkley situation. They know they don't have a quarterback that can throw. We're just going to load the box, and Jonathan Taylor can't do anything.
Yeah.
Alec Pierce is there, still good. Josh Downs. Not sure if Michael Pittman's going to be back. He may.
He talk about a guy that's gone from top of the cloud to really come crashing down. They just not like him or what? Like what's going on?
You got to have a guy to throw it to him.
Yeah.
I'm just wasting career. So I think C right now is good. If for some reason he gets any type of accuracy over this offseason, maybe does the Jane Daniel thing, wears the visor and just practices all day.
Yep.
Decision making.
Ceiling's high B, but I'm putting him C.
Yeah.
Or it's definitely D though.
Do you think that they're above the Cowboys or below the Cowboys?
Below.
Below. Okay.
Yeah.
I say below. Jonathan Taylor's the only bright side on that team right now.
Yeah. This next team's pretty easy for me. I'm putting them high D. Trevor Lawrence, he did get hurt last year. Brian Thomas Jr. played amazing, but that's about it. That's about all you can say. Tank Bigsby was decent. Travis Etienne absent last year.
Todd.
Just really weird.
A lot of people drafted him high, and
that's something. I mean, we should just add it to one of these podcasts in the future. I mean, how many times have we talked about these big name guys that we drafted high in, the dynasty drafts, the redrafts, didn't produce? It's kind of like one of those rare years where, you see a couple guys that go high and you're like, shit, that guy didn't produce. But it was the majority of big names in the first couple rounds that we would draft. The Etiennes, the other big names, Bijan had kind of like a rough start at the beginning too. Even Jonathan Taylor. For where you're drafting those guys, zero production. It's almost like, shit, I can get Tank Dell in the 10th round and have him outproduce Etienne. It's a wild thing to say. That's something I'd look into. But he was an absolute dud this year. Hopefully just a random weird year. But man, that whole team, Trevor Lawrence doesn't seem to be the guy, and that could be a big problem for that organization.
They always got Mac Jones.
Mac Jones, he's got a chip on his shoulder all the time. He might be all right.
He didn't do too horrible.
Macadelic.
Yeah.
All right, we got the Chiefs next. Now, despite the holes we saw in the Super Bowl, I think you got to put these guys at S. Got to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're as long as Patty Mahomes and Big Red are together, that's all that matters.
Doing Patty Mahomes teams, that wide receiver core is stacked. Their defense is. Fish kept mentioning it. Their defense. I mean, obviously, the Eagles picked them apart, but all throughout the rest of the year, ton of one-score game wins, one on a blocked field goal, like the wild stuff. Maybe there's some ref interference. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I mean, it was I think it was the championship game, or it was the divisional. I can't remember which one. Patty was getting tackled, and as he's falling, makes a throw, and it's right on the target, touchdown. I
He was horizontal.
we hate him because he's so good. It's that
Yeah.
Tom Brady effect. But we can't deny that he's not a good quarterback. So
No, 100%. And once Rasheed Rice, once he comes back, once from his knee injury and stuff like that, Xavier Worley gained a lot of chemistry with him towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
You got to think who he's throwing to, right? No, I'm going to read you a couple names here, right? You got DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster, Hollywood Brown. In their prime, those are three lethal names. Those guys are aging and haven't been. Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith haven't been relevant for 5 years.
Yeah.
You're telling me that Patty is and an aging, I give up on every play, Travis Kelsey?
Yeah.
I mean, for what he
No.
had as an offensive core throwing to him.
yeah, Noah Gray
Yes.
looked good. Their other tight end.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
like Noah
And
Gray.
they were picking up running backs left and right. I mean, shit, I think they picked Kareem Hunt back up.
Yep, they did.
They did.
And
He
he
played in
had
the
a
Super Bowl.
he had a couple good games. So
Not at the Super Bowl, but yeah, I mean, that's what games there.
Pacheco's
I-
still a beast too. So
yeah, I'm
he
glad
runs.
they had a shitty Super Bowl. But the Chargers,
the Chargers, we got Beast Herbert out there at the helm. He had a very good season, only threw like
really good head coach there.
3-4 picks all year, and then just fell apart in the playoffs. I think the Chargers' ceiling's probably low A. Their floor's probably high B, so I'm pretty comfortable putting them here. I think that team's just going to take another step forward this upcoming year. J.K. Dobbins played amazing. He did get hurt again, but then he came back and kind of revitalized his season again. So I think the Chargers there is probably pretty accurate.
That's reasonable. Yeah.
Yep.
Now the Rams, big question mark here for the Rams. Does Matthew Stafford come back? That young defense is really good. You got Puka Nacua. You got Cooper Kupp that I believe they're fielding trade offers for on Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, they're trying to trade him.
And then you got
But even
Kyron as well, who's a beast.
Yeah, which they have Blake Corum backing him up. Who I know we didn't see a whole ton of him this year, but
He broke his arm, right?
I
Fractured it.
can't remember if he broke his arm or if they just
I
didn't
thought
really
he got
use him.
hurt.
But I mean, in college, he reads holes very well. Yeah, put him in
Put him in.
put him in low A. I think if Stafford comes back, even with losing Cup, you know, you still got Puka there. I know they don't really have a whole ton of backups, but the guys they did have in there didn't do too bad while Puka and Cup were hurt. You know, they got that defense is really, really good. Sean McVay is
Yeah,
a good coach.
coaching matters.
And yeah, and if Stafford's there, they'll find a way to squeak into the playoffs like they have the past 2 years. And playoff Matt Stafford is just a different animal.
Yep, definitely.
I mean, the game against the Eagles, Fishy, were probably clenched so hard you could create diamonds down there.
I did one. That was nice.
But, you know, you look what they did to the Vikings, who had a stellar year last year, and they made them, I just look like fools. Like, how does this team win 14 games?
Yeah.
So, I think low A's right there now.
I'd probably put them
If-
above the Chargers, if I'm
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
It just
Now, if
seems like a
Stafford
more
doesn't
complete
come
team.
back, though, then it's a toss-up. It just depends on who they get back there.
Yeah.
And that shifts them definitely out of A. If Stafford's not there, they're not an A team. I think they're maybe low B, high C, just because of the talent that's there.
Deshaun would look pretty good in that blue and white or blue and yellow. I think personally.
I think you guys just need to re-sign Jameis and let him have fun, because I'll even just enjoy watching him enjoy football.
Yeah.
Love that guy. Him at the Super Bowl was fantastic.
Yeah, he was awesome. All right, this next team, sorry Raiders fans, there's no bright spot to your team other than Mad Max. I'm putting you bottom D.
Oh, Brock Bowers. Don't forget about Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers, yeah. Quarterback,
And-
huge question
and they-
mark. Running back, huge question mark. Receivers, huge question mark. Other than Bowers, can't really speak about anyone on their defense except for Mad Max. So,
Yeah.
you guys got to
And they
go
just
bottom D.
signed that one head coach from that one team that did really well this year. Who was it? Fish?
Which one? Who?
Isn't your offensive coordinator going to the Raiders?
No, he's going to Saints.
Oh, Saints. That's what it is. Yeah. No, it's Pete Carroll.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
They
Pete
brought
Carroll is.
Pete Carroll out of retirement.
Yeah. I mean,
89-year-old Pete Carroll. Not really 89, but still.
not really. It looks like it.
He's
All
close.
that stress, man. Throwing the ball in the Super Bowl when you had Marshawn Lynch back there. Just wild decisions, but still a good coach. You know, if you look at his track record, I don't know. We'll see. I think you're right though on the low D because they just don't have anybody. They just have nobody.
All right, next we got the
rebuild.
We got the Dolphins. We got Tua, his injury history. Dolphins cannot seem to play in anything under 40 degrees, which never trends well. They are one of the fastest teams now. Tyreek Hill is
He wants out.
probably out there. They did just release Raheem Mostert, so fire up your Devon
really?
Achane shares there. He should get the bulk of everything next year, but I think these guys are probably mid B, maybe low B.
I would agree with that.
If I had to guess.
I can see that. Tua's future is just so uncertain with the way that he takes hits. You know,
Yes,
if he
it
gets
is.
hurt, we saw what happened where they didn't have anybody that could throw the ball. Tyreek wants out. Like, yeah, you still got Waddle over there, and who's their other receiver?
Yeah,
They
yeah,
had-
Or is it,
they
it's
had
just him and Waddle, right?
Odell, they had
Okay.
Sheffield
I
Jr.,
thought
I think his name
I
was.
thought Odell
Oh,
was
no,
on.
Washington.
Yeah, just
They have
Um,
I don't know.
Their defense, they
Braxton
got.
Berrios still there?
Yes, I thought he was.
He might be.
Is he?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like
got a lot of-
mid low B is reasonable for that.
All right, Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, Barrios is still at the Dolphins.
Got to put them in A.
Yeah, I got him in A tier.
Probably right before the Packers, I would guess. Now, they do have a question mark at quarterback. Sam Darnold played really well. J.J. McCarthy's there. Going to be interesting to see what they do. Kevin O'Connell's still there. As we just said, coaching matters.
Fish, you look like he forgot a name on the quarterbacks, and you really want to say it.
They did.
Go ahead.
They did. I'm just saying, don't rule out Danny Dimes' revenge tour. That's wild. But I just say crazy so quick. There's a lot of. I don't know.
No,
JJ
they.
coming up with injury. Sam should take reins again unless he signs somewhere else. But
Yeah.
they should be right back to where they were last year.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
The defense was.
Van Ginkel played out of his mind last year.
Yeah. Yeah, that.
Never seen a defensive end have 2 pick sixes.
Yeah, almost 3. If he wouldn't have dropped that one against the Lions,
Almost
I'm
3.
glad he did. Don't get me wrong. But no, definitely. You know, you can't say you're rebuilding and then go win 14 games. That doesn't happen, but it did with the Vikings.
wow.
They've got the depth at quarterback there. I think, as unfortunate as it was to see JJ get hurt, again, you talk about that first year being so important for them to learn that game. And he looked at the end too. I think it was there was a picture of him after they lost to the Rams where he had this look on his face of just like, I'm ready for vengeance.
Yeah.
Like they talked about him transitioning from comparing it to Anakin Skywalker from him in like episode 2 to the end of episode 3.
With the hair. Yeah.
Yeah, with the
I saw
hair.
that.
But Aaron Jones, when I know he got hurt a couple times, but
As
good
Aaron Jones
back.
does.
Good back. Jay Jettas is gonna do Jay Jettas things.
Great receiving core there.
So yeah, I think they're to Hawkinson at tight end, who can block very well and catch the ball very well as
Yeah.
long as he can stay healthy. But no, yeah, I'm right there with you on the A pick. It's actually exactly where I had them.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we have the Patriots. I think they got their guy at QB, but I think they got a
I agree
lot
with
of
that.
holes everywhere else. So
I say C.
I'd say high C, probably above the Cowboys, just because they do have a bright future.
I think they signed the right guy as head coach too.
Yep. They got Vrabes. They just brought back Josh. Oh, his last name's escaping me. Mick something. McDaniels. Thank you.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels came back. Yeah. He was always the great guy there. So I think the Patriots' future looks bright for them, but right now I think C tier is probably pretty accurate.
Yep. A lot of holes, but a lot of potential. Draft well. Coach your guy up.
Another team with a lot of holes. I know they had a lot of injuries this year. Alvin Kamara's aging. Derek Carr, is he going to be the guy going forward? You know, you had Rashid Shaheed get hurt. The biggest injury worry on their team for me is Chris Olave. He's had quite a few concussions over the last 2 years. And it's kind of like the Tua thing. Like, he plays a much more dangerous position than Tua. How many more hits can he take before he's got to call it? So I think.
And don't forget Taysom Hill.
Is Taysom Hill still there, or is he retiring?
Yeah, he got hurt. Remember, he put up like.
Don't even bring up the
He had
game.
like 40 fantasy points against the Browns.
All right, dude.
Sorry, it just was the Browns, but
Is that when he threw, caught, and ran one?
yes,
Yep.
yes, that is when he threw caught. And I mean,
That
I'd
is
say what
when
you
that
will about the
happened.
guy, but if the Wildcat works, the Wildcat works, man. But
They're back into city
Back end.
yeah,
You think
back
here
end, see.
before Colts or at the very end?
at the very end.
At
Yeah.
the very
I
end.
think Colts have way more potential right now
yeah.
with what they have.
Okay. I would agree with that. All right, we got the Giants, the New York Football Giants, who may be the new home to Aaron Rodgers. Who knows? I know we talked about last week. Malik Neighbors is really trying to campaign for the Rams and Giants to make a deal for Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford to come there. Who knows if that's going to happen? But I think they have a really good young core when it comes down to it. Tracy's very good at running the rock. Malik Neighbors, like we know, he's very good at catching, but I think there's just too many holes to put them anywhere above C at this point.
I agree with that.
I mean, the biggest hole it's a quarterback-driven league. That's the biggest hole they have. I'd put them above the Saints right now. Well, I don't know. I'd probably put them below the Saints.
They're honestly about even with the Saints. I think those two are very interchangeable. They're both in the same kind of situation where they don't know who's gonna be under center next year.
Yeah.
They've got good receiving core, defense, and we'll see. Does Aaron Rodgers go there and they draft a quarterback and let him sit behind Rodgers for a year to learn darkness retreats and how to smoke peyote? Could happen. He wouldn't have to move.
Maybe it'll unlock his third eye.
Does Devontae come with him wherever he goes?
I assume him and Randall Cobb go with him. Maybe even Alan Lazard. Who knows? Wherever he goes. So.
Yeah.
All right, we got the Jets. Zoltowski, I'm going to let you take this because their new coach is your defensive coordinator, former defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, I have them probably honestly. I have them in C right now.
But high C
above the Saints on the C.
Okay, it's
just because we know if Rodgers goes, then they're also losing a couple guys, and the Jets have come out and said that they're moving on from him, so he's going somewhere.
Yeah, he's going somewhere.
Unless no one signs him, then he's not going anywhere, obviously. But Aaron Glenn was a Jet, defensive-oriented coach. They've got a great defense. They had a rough year this year. I know we were talking at the beginning of the year. Oh yeah, that Jets defense. Aaron Rodgers will probably hopefully get to play more than one snap this year, and everything kind of fell flat for that team. Rodgers got the coach fired, tried to get the GM fired, brought Devontae in, didn't really do anything. So I'm optimistic for them because I think Aaron Glenn being at Detroit, what Detroit has done, they're going to try and draft better, hopefully, and fill a couple holes that they have. But it's just that question mark of who's going to be under center. I don't even know who's their backup.
Honestly, I can't remember. I do know that they have Bruce Hall. They have Braylon Allen as a backup running back, who's a pretty good bruiser. They do have Garrett Wilson. He may be on the way out. I don't know. I've heard a lot of trade rumors about him recently, getting out of New York there. So who knows? All right, we got the Steelers. I almost want to wait until the end for the Steelers, count 16 teams, and then put them behind the 16th team because they're
It's your favorite team,
all
man.
the time.
16 of your favorite teams?
No, put them at 16th on this list.
Dead. They're dead middle. They're dead middle. Like, it's the Steelers phenomenon.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
they flipped it this year where they started off really strong and then fell apart at the end of the year, first round exit. We talked about is Tomlin in the hot seat? Who's going to be at quarterback next year? It doesn't seem like it matters.
Could be Rodgers.
Could be.
I don't think it's going to be Russ.
Defense. Their defense is good. Their defense was outstanding. They have, it's weird to say, but they have a very good kicker who scored a lot of points for them this year. A lot of fantasy points. I think I saw him put up over 20 points in multiple games.
Yeah.
Because of the leg that he's got. I mean, 3 points is better than no points. But they're just middle of the road. It seems like there's this huge hump they can't get over. They're playing in a somewhat tough division with the Bengals and the Ravens, and then the Browns always give them a run for their money. There's always that heated rivalry that they have. We watched the snow game this past year, which was fantastic.
Yeah, it was an awesome game to watch.
Yeah, but they're right there in the middle.
I agree with that. All right, we got the Seahawks next. Kind of the same vibe with the Steelers.
Yep.
I mean, they've got their quarterback. Who knows how good Geno's going to be.
They've got weapons.
Yeah, they got weapons. They've got some names on defense, not a ton, but
they've got DK. They've got Charbonnet. They got Kenny Walker. They just need to give that man the ball. Him and Charbonnet both.
Yeah. They
and
should
then
run
play
more
action and
two running back system for sure.
Air it out. Yeah, air it out to JSN and DK.
Yeah. Tyler Lockett's probably still there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he is. I think you're right. They're also right with the Steelers. Just kind of dead middle. Sitting there in limbo.
Yeah. All right, we got the San Francisco 49ers next. This team is in shambles. They've been in shambles all year.
Yeah.
The talent is there, and they proved themselves before. I don't think we can knock them down to C or even B. I would probably put them at the back end of A.
I had them very first, like the top of B, just because of and I know they had a lot of injuries, and Brock, maybe he had was he a rookie last year?
No, he's been
the year before, I think.
He's been in the league 3 years. Okay,
but he had that really good year the year before, and then they got a ton of injuries, on the offensive side. I mean, they were plagued. CMC was pretty much out the whole year. They brought in Jordan Mason, the best running back in the league. He got hurt, and then they bring up Isaac Guerrero, who again ran the ball really well, but Ayuk was out. What?
The guy's a jackass. Cost me a fantasy game. Lost my money.
I told you to pick him. I told you.
I did. I picked him and started him, and then the second play he gets hurt.
Oh yeah, he got hurt too. So they were then his backup came in and ran the ball really well. So you're right. They got the talent, they got the depth. It's just they gotta stay healthy.
Yeah, I think Debo wants out too.
The good news from that is that Debo wants out. I think Debo is a drama queen and a cancer to that team. Get him out. You get somebody else in there that wants to play, that'll fight for that spot, and maybe they'll kind of level set the egos of Ayuk and all them. I mean, you got Pearsall that did well when he started.
Yeah,
I mean,
he did.
What, 6'3"? He's got a good frame.
Juwan Jennings.
Juwan Jennings.
He had his flash in the moment. I mean,
they got George Kittle. Don't forget Kittle.
Mr. Seattle Mado himself.
That's what I'm saying. The talent's there. If if you can trim the fat, get rid of the Debo and the egos, I think you will be back to. I think a lot of them were riding that high of doing really well consecutive years, and they thought that they were unstoppable, couldn't be touched.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Andrew started playing them. They're like, "Holy shit, we are very vulnerable right now." So get rid of Debo, see what you can get from him, let him waste away somewhere else, level set the mindset there, and go from there. So I think A tier on the back end of that, perfect.
I think they're probably, if all their guys are firing on all cylinders, they're probably right around where the Packers are. Kind of put them next to them. So
I agree with that.
we got the Buccaneers, the surprise darlings of the year last year. I think their ceiling is A. Their floor is probably mid B. Just depends on what Baker Mayfield shows up that week.
That is very true. They're riding the hot hand often.
Yeah, I assume
injuries too. Injuries around the league this year were
detrimental. Yeah, I
or
assume
rough.
Chris Godwin will come back. What was his name? Jalen McMillan. He kind of came on at the end of the year last year. That rookie.
He had a good showing there.
They force-fed Mike to get his 1,000-yard season again.
Hey man,
So
he breaks the record this year. I'm calling it right now. You heard it here.
he probably will. So yeah, I think they're probably here by
right above the 40.
San Fran. Yeah,
Right above the 49ers. I just think Baker's got more talent and more what's the word, tenure. Go with that one than Brock does. A little bit more composed now, because I know they gave him that 1 year prove it deal, and he came out and proved it.
He did.
So they're a scary team. I think if they stay healthy, this year they win more games than what they did. They still won. You got Bucky Irving back there. Don't forget Bucky.
Yeah, Bucky Irving's a beast.
So,
all right, we got the Titans next. I mean, pretty easy. Put them here. Probably right above the Raiders. Number 1 pick this year. I mean, they're just way too many holes. Who was their running back last year?
Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard.
Right.
He played pretty well, but
yeah,
that's
did.
probably about it. No word if Levi Jeans is going to be the guy.
Kind of figure it out if he is.
Yeah.
I think they give him this year to figure it out. If you can't, then it's done.
It's going to be interesting to see who they pick first pick. So could really set the tone for the rest of the teams.
I hope it's not Shador.
Could be. You never know.
I don't want an ego there.
All right, this team, the most surprising team of last year for me, the Washington Commanders, the Commies. I'm putting them probably up here above the Bengals.
I had them first in A.
First in A? You think that they're better than... I'll give you that.
I think
they're a little more
that,
complete.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels, and he's a faster Josh Allen. Where we've seen that he has that arm, and he's almost like Lamar, where he can run the ball.
He's like a hybrid between the two.
Yes, that's a perfect way to describe it. They have a decent defense. Scary Terry out there being scary. Who's their running back?
Ryan Robinson.
Yep, he runs the ball well. They have that good tight end too.
Zach Ertz.
So, just add a couple more weapons on defense, and maybe one more guy on offense. And I mean, that's, as a divisional opponent, Fish. I mean, you got to look at them and go, oh, God, we got to play those guys twice.
Yeah, but Fangio and what we've done so far defensively, that's why we have the multiple tiers. We've shown multiple times this year that we can contain Dan Daniels.
Yeah.
Outside of the one game when we didn't really play many people, it is what it is kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it would be a great matchup, and I'm glad it's not Dallas, but they're going to be a very, very scary team for a long time.
Yeah. They might have a rough start without Sam Cosmi in the beginning of the year next year. He did hurt his knee in that last game that they played against the Eagles, but I mean, it's a next man up league, so we'll see how that goes. Zoltowski, you know a little bit about this team.
I do. I know a little bit about this team.
You have any worries about that coaching staff going forward?
I really don't. I talked about it before. Say it again. Dan Campbell's got the reins. He's going to pick the right guys. Brad Holmes is going to be right there with him, also helping pick the right guys. That team is, a bottom of S.
Side of
That's
B.
exactly where I think that.
Gotta, yeah.
What'd you say?
Gotta,
Backside of B at best.
Crazy.
gotta take the starters out next year. You got your revenge. You got your revenge. Take the starters out. Stay healthy. We got dismantled by a Commanders team. A good Commanders team that's going to be good. Like Fish said, for years to come. I think the defense is healthier. That game goes a different way. Now, I know a lot of the end of the year ones, those games weren't, those weren't really like, oh, hey, we should have taken the starters out. These guys got hurt. They were close games, or, hey, we're fighting for the 1 seed. But, they can stay healthy. I don't think it matters who they're going to bring in because they're going to pick, I'm not worried about it. I'm really not.
As long as Dan Campbell, which I know he will be, is in that hiring process, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll promote from within. Who knows?
They might. I think they did. The linebacker coach is now their defensive coordinator, and then they, I don't remember who they picked as their OC,
which is deserving because
John Morton.
The amount of injuries they had at the linebacker position last year, and they still had guys come in and ball out. I mean, that's fantastic for them. So good on the Lions. Good on Dan Campbell and that whole staff. I think bottom of S is probably pretty accurate. I might even sneak them above the Chiefs, but who knows?
I just had it. I love Jared Goff. But Patty Mahomes is just better.
You mentioned Patty Mahomes in Honolulu Blue.
Oh, dude, honestly would love it. I'd still hate him because his family's not the best people, but with that receiver core, that offensive line, I'd be like almost, you might say, like the Philadelphia Eagles out there.
Watch Quarterback on Netflix, not sponsored. You will punch your TV. He's so annoying in that show. I'm him.
So, one quick comment on this too, just to bring up how much I love Dan Campbell. When they promoted their linebacker coach, because he's got those dreads. You know what I'm talking about, Fish, right?
Yeah,
have you seen this?
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, you might. But he asked him. He's like,
there goes the shoulder.
it hurt. Okay, but back on track. Back on track. He's like, hey Dan, do you want me to cut my dreads so that I look more professional? And he's like, no, it's what makes you. Like, I want you to be you out there. Like, he's just so
what a random question
for his people. What?
So what a random question.
I know. It's just, you're in that different position now where there's more spotlight on you. Really talk about, the position coaches. You talk about your OC, DC, and your head coach. Those are the guys, I don't think we've mentioned any position coaches other than we've like, oh yeah, he's been here. Yeah. So, but I'm excited for next year. As always, there's a lot of rumors flying around. I don't know why we would need him, but apparently the Lions and Rams are talking about Cup. He's got chemistry with Goff. I don't think it's a good fit. We've got enough receivers already. Go for Miles. I draft Jack Sawyer if he doesn't go early. You'd love to see Miles in Honolulu Blue or Kelly Green. Don't lie to me. As long as he's not in. He's not.
You said purple? I heard purple. You say purple?
Was it any of these teams? He'd immediately change that defense. Immediately change it.
I don't know about any of these teams.
100%.
I don't know.
You get Josh Sweat out, you put Miles in, crazy D-line. Even better.
We had a crazy D-line.
Even better.
No blitzing.
Look, no blitzing. And, yeah. So, John Morton actually has been with the Lions before with Ben Johnson. He was the consultant during Ben Johnson's first season.
Oh, okay.
So,
interesting.
Yeah, and he was the passing game coordinator in Denver. So he He helped turn Bo Nix around. So, yeah, not worried. Put them right where they are. Hopefully, it's Eagles Lions in the NFC Championship next year, and
We
either
do
we're
back
driving
to
to
back.
either we're driving to Philly or we're driving to Detroit. I don't care. I've got 2 kidneys and I only need one.
It might be the home opener, but to be honest, or
True.
the,
It
That
could be.
that would be a great home opener. I've also seen them go for the Bears too, though, which I wouldn't hate that either. They're not picking the Commanders for the home opener.
I'd probably be the Lions. I'd be excited.
Do we even have to talk about this one?
All right,
Yeah,
Fish. To quote the legendary WWE figure Paul Heyman,
I don't know why you're doing the WWE.
the reigning, defending, undisputed champions of the league,
Yeah, we know this.
Eagles are going top S.
They're S plus.
Yep,
Clearly
up the
the
top.
best team in the league. Look, for what they did last year, where they landed defensively and offensively, to what they did this year, completely flipped the script. Was in the back half of everything last year. Had a big 10-game turmoil. Barely made the play. Things like that. To then bring in 2 OCs, who Jalen hasn't had consecutive OCs in, I don't know, since college. For what they did this year and how lethal and almost how easy it was, especially on defense. It didn't matter who was throwing it or who was running it, whatever receivers were catching it. Yeah, there'll be some that get by. Every tier was covered, and that's a big component to Howie. Howie Roseman and his drafting capabilities. The last 3 years, all 3 rounds have been knockouts.
Yeah.
And it's wild. And I just got goosebumps just thinking about the crazy shit that he does. I'd let that man do what he wants to do. Beer can in the face or not, that guy is a legend. It's S
Who's
tier, S plus. That's what it is.
who's that linebacker
Top
they
S
picked
tier.
up at the end of the year? Zach Bond, right?
Yeah.
Who had an interception in the Super Bowl and just balled
Yeah,
out.
The diving interception. Yeah, the guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
2 of the best rookie DBs I've ever seen.
yeah.
Just balling out. So Yep.
Cooper DeJean, yeah, that's a scary team. Definitely got a
Yes.
chance to repeat. Everyone's coming back.
I'm not saying it,
the
but
John Mustard shirt's not available.
Dijon Mustard.
I see what you did. That's good.
Thinking. All right, the last team, my Cleveland Browns. A lot of turmoil on this team as usual. Don't really know who the quarterback's going to be next year as usual. Myles Garrett wants out, said he's going to do everything in his power to force a trade. It's hard to be optimistic. I think the roster is still very talented. It's just really comes down to what the Browns have always had an issue with, and it's who's slinging the ball. So I think where I want to put them is probably right behind the Colts. I don't know if that's... I mean, obviously, if Myles does get out, they're probably D tier. I mean, I feel he's that impactful of a player. He can change possessions. He can flip the field. I mean, he's the reason why, we force punts so many times. He gets that sack or that quarterback hurry or that quarterback hit on third down that forces an incompletion. It's just, I mean, Myles is that dude in the league. He's won Defensive Player of the Year once before. Some could argue he should have won it this year, but I can't speak highly enough about him, and I think if he truly leaves, then we're probably right between the Jaguars and the Panthers. I think it's that much of a flip. He's a pillar.
I don't know. I agree with you. I agree. Miles is an incredible ball player, game changing, team changing, whatever it may be. Statistically, you figure out of all the quarterbacks you have tried, at least one would be successful, right? I'm curious to see where you guys go in the draft. If you do pick up a Dak Prescott or an Aaron Rodgers or someone to give you that bridge year to then look for quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins, anyone that just says, hey, you take this much, we understand we're going to win games, we're going to lose games, but we're not going to be bottom tier. You're going to get us essentially past this year. We're either going to draft a rookie this year or get him next year, and I'm going to have you train him. Something that one, by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, that you guys have really never done, right? You never just had a quarterback just kind of sit for a year or two and just let them learn. They've
Yeah.
always been thrown into it, regardless of the age. Anything from 21 to 28. 28-year-old rookie. I never thought I'd see the day. That is
28 years old getting stuck under a American flag his first game.
Guys had an actual big boy job for 5 years. It's like, yeah, I play football. That's
Football.
crazy.
He played for the Yankees
Crazy.
before he was with us.
Guys, I mean, he's living my dream. And it's absurd. I can do it now.
Yeah.
Maybe
You're
not
sure
the
your
shoulder.
shoulder will let you?
Yeah, that hurt. That hurt right there. But
Yeah. Now you know what
look,
I'm dealing with. So
I've
we're
been
talking
dealing
shit.
Yeah. So, but no, I think you guys, you get a veteran quarterback. Honestly, your best bet would be Kirk Cousins. He seems the most level-headed, not egotistic. Isn't going to be like, oh, I don't feel like showing up to practice this week like an Aaron Rodgers would. Best bet is to get him, get somebody this year, next year, and then just let them train under this guy. That's it.
He's been in the Stefanski system before as well. In Minnesota, they were together, so I could see Kurt going there. Stefanski, they're bought in on. The GM Andrew Berry, they're a little shaky with right now, but I believe wholeheartedly that the Deshaun Watson decision was brought to them by the Haslam family, the owners of the Cleveland Browns. I believe they told him, do everything in your power to make it work. That's why you saw $230 million guaranteed, 5 picks transferred. I mean, he did what he had to do to get him in there, and it did not pan out. So I think they have hung their hat on that. They're ready to be done with Deshaun. I've seen a lot of people out there saying if Miles really wants traded, make sure Deshaun's in that package. So I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but
Eating up a big contract for someone that won't play.
Yeah,
I think they're going to get out of that contract. I know we've talked about it
because
with
of
his
the
injury.
TikTok video.
Yeah, and he re-tore it. And then that video surfaces of him not being in his walking boot,
Dancing in front of his car on a hill, by the way.
So
Okay.
That place to be dancing.
Yeah,
Idiot. So
get him out. Get him out. What are we doing?
all right, so before we end the show, we're not going to do Who's That Dude? We're not going to do the draft this week just because we're already at about time. We don't like to go over 2 hours. So is there anyone you boys would like to change? Any positions we think we need to switch?
No, I don't think so. I think everything is good right now. I don't like where the Lions are sitting. I think even like Zoltowski said, I think even them losing their coaching staff, as long as Dan Campbell handpicks somebody, the offense will still run the same way. So I kind of want to move the Ravens at the back end of it because they haven't really proven themselves. Move the Lions
I would
right
agree with that.
Right there should be fine.
Yeah.
Kansas City's going to be Kansas City, but I think the Lions have way more talent than Kansas City does. But they would have to go through the Eagles, obviously. You guys could make it to get to us to then lose, but whatever it is. But I think the list that we have now is very good. I'm very curious to see come April when the draft happens, those bottom D tier teams, who do they pick up? Are they going to pick up to just kind of build for the next, couple years? Or are they trying to go win right now and try and get a quarterback or that key position player that they need to make a difference in their game? So I'm curious to see about that. And obviously with the Bengals and their shitty 4-person defense they have going on.
Yeah, the Bengals can just tank real easy. I think we should redo this after the draft, and then maybe halfway through the year.
I say after the draft. Probably halfway through the year.
Like
That's
week 9, week 10. So
maybe once before the year too, like right after preseason.
Yeah, right after preseason, I'm okay with that.
There's one change I need to make here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Yep.
There we go. Perfect.
They're dead middle.
Right in the middle. There we go.
Dead middle.
Dead middle.
And put the Seahawks right next to them too.
Yeah.
That's
gonna make some Bears fans mad, but here we go.
There's just if Caleb, sophomore slump could happen, running game isn't there, and they're just trying to throw the ball.
For him, it could be the opposite. It could be a sophomore not slump.
Right. Yeah, it's 100% possible. Like I said, there's just, I think, like they're B tier for sure. You think they should move up?
No. I think this
yeah.
list that we have here is great for now. I think C tier wise, I think the Patriots are like you said, they found their guy. Drake May has played very, very well
Just
with
need to
the
build
weapon.
around him.
Yep.
Now, and this is where the draft comes, and when we do the other tier list, do they get those pieces? I mean, they got a top tier coaching staff in the whole league just by picking up 2 guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, very, very curious to see what they do. Looking at this list, don't think the Saints are going to make any movements. Giants, unless they get like a Cam Ward type guy or something like that. I don't really see much fluctuation between the C and B's, but I mean, I could be surprised. Patriots could go all in on a couple guys, get a couple solid receivers, a Malik Neighbors type, maybe they find somewhere out in the boonies or whatever, but you never know. I mean, the draft is very exciting for a lot of these guys, so we'll see what happens.
Time will tell. Guys,
Time will tell.
if you don't mind, I'd like to just do a thumbs up in the camera. Smile. All right, there's our thumbnail. All right. Everybody, appreciate you guys listening. We sorry that took a little bit longer than we really anticipated, but we are going to call it there, and we'll continue on later with what we have going on the next pod. We'll do our trivia time, Who's That Dude? We'll do our biggest draft busts, and we're also going to have a guest next episode.
Ooh,
Our first guest, Mr. Too Much Tones himself.
Oh,
wow,
nice.
That guy?
Yeah. Mr. Tone is going to come on the show, so it's going to be fun. But yeah, we appreciate you guys watching. I always say GG. Thanks for being in, Gent.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.